I think of it as sort of the anti-romantic comedy in a way. And it's also about the relationship that helps you get over a relationship. It's maybe not the person you might end up with for the rest of your life, but it's the person that relationship that helps you get over the pain that you've experienced, and how it gets you back in touch with who you are.
I was going through a hard time about 8 years ago, and just kind of started thinking about the different ways in which we, lose people and experience loss and death. And it sounds so bleak, but that was sort of the gestation of this, of just trying to examine two people who are coming at loss from kind of two different directions, and seeing where they are similar and seeing where they're different. And that just sort of stemmed from what I was going through then, just sort of experiencing loss in like several ways.
I remember I was sitting in this cafe, and I got to like page 40 or 50, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I really want to be a part of this. I just, so many things drew me into the story and the character, and like right away I picked up the phone, I called my agent, I was like, I have to go in. And then they called me back and they said, the sessions have fallen out, the lead actress has fallen out. We don't know if the movie's going to go. We don't know what's going to happen now. So it's all kind of fallen apart. So I think about a few days later, I went in and I met Bill, director, and Katie Miller, who produced it, in Hollywood, and sat down and had coffee for probably about 45 minutes or an hour, and just spoke about the script at length. And I really liked them. So much of it is just, do you have a rapport with these people? Because you're going to go into the trenches. Especially on a movie like this where you're shooting, this is a 21-day schedule, money's tight, it's New York City,
So, how was the moon? Sorry, has everyone been doing that too lately?
No, you're the first one. Chemistry is definitely a huge thing. Spencer was cast not long after I was. She came in and read with a few other people, and I think we all mostly knew right away that there were a few people that felt right, and there was a discussion about what is the right chemistry, because there are kind of a little bit of different kinds of chemistry, not to get like too heady about it, but it's like, for this relationship, without giving anything away, what is the right type of chemistry that these two have, where it doesn't lead the audience to a place where they can't come to terms with how the film actually ends.
They did a chemistry read together, and it was just pretty clear that they had chemistry. But what was very interesting was that Spencer sort of had a different energy than I had realized I was looking for, but a wonderful one, where I think I was so focused on this woman as somebody who is grieving, and she had that, yet she also had this charisma of somebody that you could see the former version of this person before she had been so wounded.
How do you tell someone that you've been good friends with for 10 years who has never done a bad thing to you in her life that you've avoided hanging out with her because you're afraid it'll make you feel weird?
Well, I could tell her for you. I mean, if you give me her number, I will straighten that girl out right quick. When's the wedding anyway?
October.
Oh, do you have to go?
Well, she asked me to be her maid of honor.
Well, maybe you could compromise. Maybe you could DJ or valet. Can you drive stick?
You're a huge help, you know that? I think right off the bat, I definitely brought something more to the table, because you could kind of get wrapped up in the whole depression of it. And that's not really my way of dealing with stuff. So I came in, and I think I brought more energy to it, and gave him a little bit more to work with. And I think those are the things that you either have or you don't have. He's an incredibly attractive man, so that makes it a little easier. And he's funny and smart, and we just got along really well, and we're kind of nerdy in that actory way, where I'm like, I'm gonna make a mixtape about my character. I totally do stuff like that. And I was like, let's talk about it. And we met up, and we talked about influences or movies that we related to. We also met with Bill, and he talked about his, and we had all these emails, and then also we rehearsed a lot.
I just was excited to be a part of it. I shot 4 days on this movie. I knocked all my stuff out, and it was very brief. But I was so excited to be a part of his journey. And he's such a generous, kind guy. He understands how to talk to actors. His background is theater. And if you're a theater director, you need to understand scope and story and picture, but you need to know how to talk to actors. And so many so many directors in this town don't really know how to talk to actors. And just working with Bill was just so much fun. And thank God he called me, because if he didn't, it'd be fucking hell to pay. You know what I mean? Today, more than anything, it's like a celebration of Bill. And when you're an independent filmmaker trying to make movies and you don't have, financing behind you, it's impossible. And he's been, it all came together, and I'm so proud of him, more than anything, because it's a fight.
Like we were talking about before, that's my entourage coming in. The Hells Angels guard me.